Well, in the summer I pretty much live in the outdoors. I've been here now for 3 weeks, I guess. I my parents, I guess my sister's got the picture now, but my parents had a picture of me at about 4 years old, standing on the edge of a pond with a string tied to a stick and pretending I was fishing. And I've always enjoyed fishing and hunting and camping. And I write an outdoor column now for a weekly newspaper, Oceana Herald Journal in Hart, and I just like being out here. My body isn't responding as well as it used to. I can't beat the brush for grouse all day long like I once did, but I still like to be in camp and hunting or fishing. Um, we're waiting for the Hexagenia limbata to hatch. This time of year, late June or sometime in June, this giant Michigan mayfly hatches, and it's a very big bug, and it brings up very big trout to feed on them. It's your best chance to catch a big trout over 20 inches on a dry fly. And so far we haven't had much luck, but we expect tonight's going to be the night. I have probably spent a total of at least a year in this campsite. We started coming here way back probably in the 60s, maybe the early 70s, and there hasn't been a summer since that I haven't camped here, and mostly in this same campsite. I'll be 83 in just a few days, and I feel much at home here, very comfortable in this surroundings, and I like to be in camp even if I'm not hunting or fishing. It's nice to live outdoors. This is a state forest campground on the Manistee River, and it's primitive. The only water is a pump, and the only facilities are outhouses, and you got fire pits, and that's about all they provide, and picnic tables. That's about all they provide. But I've got a pretty good sized tent that I find is just right for me, and we got propane stoves and lanterns and stuff. We used to cook over a fire, but got so it's too much trouble to bend over. So mostly now we cook on propane, sleep in tents. As I get older, it gets more difficult, and I kind of hate to admit it, but yeah, bending over is difficult. Getting up, if you sleep on an air mattress on the ground, it's a terrible struggle to get back to your feet. Yeah, and you get aches and pains, but I try to ignore them all. And some of my friends used to, since almost everybody's younger than I am in the group, used to tease me that when I was in a home, they'd come down and pick me up and take me out and set me in my wheelchair on the river so I could watch them. And at first it kind of angered me, and then I realized, no, if I get stuck in a home, these guys better come down and get me and take me to camp. As you get older, apparently some people lose their equilibrium, and one of the questions you run into in any health care situation is, have you fallen in the past year? And I told him, yes. How many times? And I said, 3 times. And that looked like that was very bad. So I asked if there was room for notes on there, and I explained that at once I was wading in a trout stream, this one in fact, at about midnight, and stepped up on a sandbank, and it collapsed under my foot, and I fell down. The second time I was on snowshoes in the Muskegon State Game Area, and it's very easy to fall on snowshoes. And the third time I was trying to get in heavy crusted snow between my partner's camper and mine, and I fell. And I said, I got to admit, on the last one, I was drunk. And the healthcare professional taking all this information looked up very startled and says, I don't get many answers like this from 80-year-old men. Michigan is wonderful. I lived in Texas, a few years, and you have to It's very difficult to get to trout fish anyway there. They got one stream they claim is a trout stream. And even the hunting, despite all the vast acreage, it's all owned. And mostly to hunt deer, you got to pay somebody to allow you, so he will allow you to hunt on his property. That's for deer or birds. Michigan, thank God for the lumber barons. They didn't pay a penny's worth of taxes, and all this land reverted to the state. So we've got uncountable acres of land and river frontage that's ours we can use. These flies hatch in the evening and on through the night, and the big brown trout become largely or are largely nocturnal. So most of the really big fish I've seen or know of being caught out of here were caught after midnight. So yes, I'm planning on going fishing tonight. The weather turned cold and I went out several times as the night progressed and looked at the river and never saw any trout rising. Yes, just came back to camp, sat by the fire. It's a very pleasant alternative to fishing with no fish. I would much rather be here than any place else I can think of right at the moment. I'm having a very good time. I like it up here because overall the fishing is or can be excellent. I've caught a number of big fish here, lost some bigger ones, and I like the place. I like the river here, it's beautiful, and I've got very fond memories of this campground. No, it's a scientific mixture of vermouth and whiskey and cherry juice, invented by a scientific bartender in New York. It definitely does not add to my fishing. It can add to my enjoyment of an evening when I'm not fishing, but I don't recommend drinking these and then going fishing. I can feel it chilling down, and I probably am not going to go fishing tonight. Tomorrow night's the night.